Good morning, everybody. Today is the 25th day in the month of July 2022. My name is Heritage Adisa, Markets Analyst at HFM Nigeria. And as always, we check through the markets, find out what the big stories are, big stories that are driving asset prices, if it provides opportunities, and then how we can take advantage of it. But please, like always, do remember that this is just the communication material and nothing in this communication contains or should be considered as investment advice or investment recommendation. Users acknowledge that investments in FX and CFD products is characterized by a certain degree of uncertainty, and that any investment of this nature involves a high level of risk for which users are solely responsible and live. What we have this morning in terms of the overall environment is a more mixed start, really more flat, slow start to the week. First of all, it's a Monday, which is not really a surprise. Apart from that, it's a very light calendar day. Basically, there's nothing tangible really on the calendar, so there's also that. Apart from that, there's also the Fed week. And as always, heading into a key events like the Federal Reserve meeting, you usually don't get as much, solid price action, price movement. Market participants do not want to commit themselves to any new short-term positions before such key events. Now, I had this not written down earlier. I said, markets focus turns to FOMC meeting this week. Right, the new week starts on a slow note, right? As mixed flows and small ranges are seen across board ahead of the FOMC meeting. From the meeting, markets are basically torn between a 75 basis point hike and a 100 basis point hike. Although you look at the balance in terms of where markets really tilt, especially when you look at comments from Federal Reserve members just before the blackout period, there's a general or higher expectations for a 75 basis point hike compared to a 100 basis point hike. So having said that, generally in the market so far today, equity futures are trading mostly mixed, right? And even the mixed flows are even in small ranges, right? Some are higher, some are lower, and basically not really a clear direction so far, right? Although, generally there's a bigger tilt to the downside rather than the upside, right? So there's that to pay attention to. Iron ore, okay, there's that. Commodities are also showing sort of mixed flow as well. You look at base metals, you look at, other commodities are holding a higher, but then oil prices are down as well, right? So far in today's session, so there's that. Um, Generally, has there been any big story? Yes, there's been, back and forth, across board, little stories here and there. China looking to prop up or help her out, the troubled property sector, real estate sector. So there is that. We also had Russia also, attacking Ukraine too as well, one of the major silos there where grains are stored. Also, there's that. But all of that were just small stories here and there, and nothing from what was really, able to push markets as well. And it's not really a surprise. Even in the UK, the political landscape is still there, right? It's now torn between Truss and Sunak right now, and then there's also that to pay attention to. But generally, there's really not been much, and only to the fact that we had weak US data on Friday. So markets are basically figuring out where are we right now in terms of the data points, and then the Federal Reserve. Will they still go on hiking, looking to curb inflation while the economy is showing signs of stress? Or they'll slow down now and then try and curb the stress in the economy. So basically, we are in that middle, and then, until we have some form of clarity, it's likely that we still have this push and pull still evident in the market. Although in FX, it's not different basically. The light changes as seen across board, but then the dollar holds up quite a bit across board. It just, is a bit higher. And then you got CHF, JPY at the bottom of the majors. But mind you, the moves are very marginal. And it's not something I'm looking to chase right now. Right? Markets basically lack the appetite to chase anything new before the Federal Reserve meeting on Wednesday. Right. Looking at strengths and weaknesses, the moves are tiny across board. And because we have a very light calendar, and then the FOMC meeting is later today, right? It wouldn't be a surprise to see that lackluster performance continue. That's if we don't have any major catalysts, spurring up moves. Now we're going to look through, the currency pairs, asset classes, just to highlight what we've just said. But until then, it's likely that we have such slow movement. When you have, a major event coming up, and then there is a very likelihood that there is, not so much tangible movements in markets. There's nothing saying that you cannot be a little more patient, being more cautious and waiting for something more, waiting for the meeting to play out, looking for something more tangible or more high convincing compared to just trying to force your way into the market when there is clearly nothing much going on, to latch on to. Now, quickly looking across asset classes, just a quick one. This is the equity space, right? US 500, one of the major, one of my favorite measures of, how the equity space is trading. Not just my favorite, very big market favorite as well. So far today, 25th of July, we're basically not going anywhere. Now, don't forget, over the last couple of sessions, we've really started the day on that note where we'll just have that, flat start. Basically, we had that a couple of sessions back. Just look at this. It was the same story as well on Thursday, where we started basically not going anywhere, right? And then even on Wednesday, and then similar on Tuesday, even so basically we've had a very slow start for the last 1 week. So it's not really surprise here. And it doesn't mean that the fact that we have this does means that throughout the day it will remain like this. It might still develop later in the day. And that's why we need to pay attention to, sentiment generally. But so far today, as of now, there's really not much going on. And then we want to also be more cautious, the kind of environment that we're seeing. And it's the same story basically across the equity space, right? Basically, not much going on. Yes, FRA is pushing high a bit, but even Nikkei is back on flat levels, not much in that space. The dollar index itself too as well has basically not moved anywhere. And then we're seeing the same story really play across, but even the volatility index is also flat. Now, oil prices that I was talking about, yes, a little bit lower as well in today's session, pushing lower, but then we're finding support at Friday's lows, even very close to Thursday's lows on the UK on the Brent crude side. US oil, yes, is also lower as well, right? But in terms of catalysts, in terms of drivers for markets, is basically light, and then there's not so much on that front. And then all right, now crossing over to FX space quickly. Looking at the majors, for example, this is the pound USD. It was just trading sub of this 1.2 level, but not so long. A couple of minutes back, we just poked the level. But in terms of catalysts, in terms of convictions, basically, we've not really gone anywhere, right? And this is also an interesting level if you look at the highs going back. I'm talking about this key 1.2 level was also the highs going back to Asian Friday, going back to the whole of Thursday, and then you look back a bit, support level as well. Let's just say support level. Just you've seen a lot of market reactions around that level back and forth over the last couple of sessions. So it's an interesting level to look out for. But in terms of what we are seeing right now, the moves we are seeing right now, not looking to chase anything at all, right around where we are right now. So looking to just be more patient, waiting out for something more clear, more concrete before looking to jump into any of the moves that we've seen so far. Euro US is also interesting, but basically not much there. But we're still very close to this 1.02 key round number. Now, over the last couple of sessions, markets have basically just meandered around it. The FOMC meeting on Thursday was a massive roller coaster, right? And then we had that Friday as well. We're just basically just moving here and there, nothing really tangible to latch onto right now. So there's that's also watch out for. And then you look at USD, JPY, USD, CHF being strength and weakness as well for today's session. But even the moves are nothing, right? Net change so far today is basically 0.29%. Right, this is today, 25th of July. And if you look at the entire moves, basically hasn't gone anywhere. Even the ATR, we've not even met up to the kind of velocity we've seen over the last couple of days. So there's really not much there. You look at USD CHF, it's more interesting because it's moved up a bit, right? But even let's clean this up, right? But even with that, right now we're still meandering around 0.965, which was the low going back to 19th of July. That was like the swing low for a long time, at least for like almost the whole of July, right? So we're still, pushing, pulling. There's not so much conviction in the moves that we're seeing right now. And it's not a surprise because markets is just starting, the week is just starting. There's really not much. Yes, we had German IFO data earlier today, which was even, weaker than expected. But even with that, I'll show us in a moment, there's really been no tangible, catalyst movement. And as such, I'm being more patient, being more cautious, being more, prudent in terms of looking for shorter term opportunities. I think the FOMC meeting will be more interesting. We'll have to factor in, the recent data point that we had in terms of PMIs for the US, as well as even the inflation data, which is above 9% so far. So we're going to have to find a balance. But until then, we'll find more clarity into what we want to do. I'm going to make sure that is also said in the videos from tomorrow and Wednesday. On the calendar, it's basically a bare one. Let's just see. basically a bear one. Yes, we had, German IFO data, which came out lower than expected across board, just basically points to that, stress in the euro economy. Now, for euro, despite the fact that the European Central Bank hiked by 50 basis points, there's still so much stress for the European economy and even the euro itself. And I'm still looking for opportunities to sell the euro. I feel like there's really no reason to be buying it right now. Yes, they've hiked by 50 basis points. We were talking about the Federal Reserve about to hike to 2.5%, right? 2.5%. We're talking about the RBNZ already above 2%, all of them high already, while the European Central Bank are just around 50 basis points, right? So in terms of interest rate differentials, there's still a lot of room, and there's still stress in terms of the energy crisis is still there. Yes, Russia opened up the Nord Stream pipeline last week, but then still it's still a stress, and there's still so much, on the wires on the euro is still at the edge. That's a better way to say it. And as such, we're still looking for weakness in the euro basically. Now, in terms of stretch positioning, they're stretched heading into month end. It's also something to pay attention to. But I'm still not giving up on my euro short positions, and I'm still looking to play that out. Now, later in the week we have the FOMC meeting. That will be more interesting on Wednesday. But until then, today basically nothing on the calendar. So I'm being more patient. Sentiment is mostly mixed. Flows across board are mostly mixed. Yes, we have a load of earnings. Apple, Amazon, Google, Facebook, all expected to even release their earnings as well later today. So that'll be interesting to look out for. That could provide a catalyst or the volatility they were looking for. But until then, there's basically not much on the calendar, and as such, you should be more prudent in your trading in today's session. Thank you very much. Please do enjoy the rest of your trading session. And if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask, and would always do our best to help. Thank you. Do enjoy the rest of your trading session. Bye for now.